the early days of the church, what was that succession process like?
Joseph Smith died June 27th, 1844. Beginning of August is when we have this succession crisis showdown, if you will, where Sidney Rigdon and Brigham Young both speak, and the people get a testimony that, okay, the Quorum of the 12 is going to lead. But it's not for a few years until Brigham Young is actually installed and sustained as the president of the church, prophet, seer, and revelator.
So it had stayed with the Quorum of the 12?
The Quorum of the 12 is the governing body of the church for that interim period. And obviously it still is today. But Brigham Young, as the head of that, wasn't formally sustained as the president and prophet for a few years, and mostly because it was just unprecedented. They didn't exactly know what the process should be. Is it going to be this seniority? Is that, the one who's been in the longest, the oldest? How is this going to be determined who's actually going to be the head? And this is reflective of several years later, I believe it's Lorenzo Snow, who, after the previous prophet before him died, he was the senior apostle, and so he needed to be sustained as the next prophet. But for every single prophet before him, it had been a long time before they finally sustained and formally called Jesus the president, prophet, and seer and revelator of the church. And Lorenzo Snow has this experience where he is in the Salt Lake Temple and he receives a revelation from Christ that you should not wait. This is something that needs to happen immediately after the death of the previous prophet. And so from that point, it kind of sets a precedent that as soon as the prophet dies, the senior apostle is then installed as the prophet, seer, and revelator.